This is an aerial view of the community of Anaconda. Anaconda is the county seat of Deer Lodge County at the base of the Anaconda Range, known locally as the Pintlers. So we'll call them the Anaconda Pintlers. The city of Anaconda was originally founded by Marcus Daly. We've heard a lot about him across the state of Montana. Daly called the community Copperopolis, but there was already a town in Montana in Marr County that had that name. So Daly settled on Anaconda, and the plat was filed in June of 1883. So we're going to start on the east end of town on what's known as Highway 1, or the Pintlers Veterans Scenic Highway, that travels 2 lanes traveling west through Anaconda, and then coming back the other way is Park Avenue, traveling east. And so we're going to take a look at the landscape of Anaconda coming into the main strip. And of course, we started out with the convenience store and gas station, the town pump, which is ubiquitous to almost every community in western Montana. They're very prolific business, originated out of Butte back in the 50s. You see some motels here, and we'll get into the major business district. And Anaconda is extremely historical. There are a number of very old buildings, obviously. Marcus Daly had the Anaconda smelter here. We did see the stack as we saw the aerial coming in to Anaconda, and we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the things that have come out of Anaconda recently in terms of development. We've got a car dealership here, and pretty much everything that you need, of course, is in Anaconda, and you're not very far from Butte, which also has the Burt Mooney airport there for scheduled aircraft. And so we'll just take a look at some of the downtown area. This is kind of on the outskirts on the east side. We're going to be getting into the major portion of the Highway 1. So these are little homes here on the east end of town. This is the original Anaconda. This is on Highway 1, or what we call Commercial Avenue. And these homes were built primarily in about 1910, 1911, all fairly small. Now, as we get a little further in here, we're starting to get into the major business district. And you'll see some of these places are kind of boarded up. And we'll get down here and we'll see a home, for example, that was built in 1888 right there. And it's probably going through some renovation at some point in time. And then we're starting to get into our more of our business district. And we're going to go up here. We're going to take a left on Locust Street. Then we're going to go back over on the other side into the major business district, which is on Park Avenue, going east on the other side of Anaconda. So we'll take a look at those businesses. Now, in this part of Anaconda, at one time, it was served by electric trolley cars. And this was during the height of the mining and smeltering boom. And we can see here a variety of architectural designs. Down here, this is the Davidson building. That was built in 1895. So as you can imagine, back in the day at the turn of the century, the electric trolley cars were going down into these various neighborhoods along here. And there was, at that time, basically a bar virtually on every corner. And there are still many of these neighborhood bars that you'll find. And I don't know how many bars there are in Anaconda, but there are plenty of them. And one of the more interesting one is one called the Club Modern, which was a Art Deco design. It was built in 1937. And we're going to see that bar will come up here on the right, and very interesting if you get a chance to go in and see the architecture there. here is the Club Modern in Anaconda on Park Avenue. So now that we've seen this part of the business district as well, so that you can see what that looks like downtown Anaconda. And of course, these are, again, these little houses that were built right around 1910. So here we are on Main Street in Anaconda, and we've got some very old buildings here, 1893, 1895, next to the First National Bank building. And we're going to take a left now onto the eastbound lane, which is Park Avenue, and we'll see some of this downtown business district on the north side of Park Avenue. And naturally, you'll see some bars on the corners where the guys that were working at the smelter would get off the electric trolley cars and have themselves a whiskey. And over here on the left-hand side, we have the Anaconda Visitor Center. And this is pretty much what you're getting in old downtown Anaconda. And then we'll get back out on this east side, and you'll see again these old homes, small, many of them, and with date back to the early 1900s, 1900, 1910, somewhere in there, and of course a few scattered businesses along the way, but then we'll get into this residential area. Now, some of these properties that are on Park Avenue and Commercial Avenue, which is the westbound lane, these little properties can be extremely small, 6, 8, 900 square feet. And recently on Commercial Avenue, there was a little place that was actually 696 square feet. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath. So you can find some fairly affordable housing. Now on the northeast side, we've got some relatively new multifamily. This is Country Club Apartments, and this is very near the Old Works golf course, which is a Jack Nicholson design course that is highly recommended. It's one of the top golf courses to play in the United States. Very interesting golf course with black sand traps. And now we're going into a development here. It's called Teresa Ann Terrace. And these homes were built in the mid-90s. There was one that recently sold in this neighborhood that had 500 close to $485,000. It was 1,605 square feet on just about a third of an acre. It was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home. So this is a relatively new subdivision called Old Works Estates. And there was a home that was recently sold in here, was built in 2023, was a 1,900 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath on 0.178 acres, and it sold for $500,000. And this subdivision backs up to Warm Springs Creek that you can see kind of in the background. And these buildings are called the Cottages at Old Works, and they were constructed in 2021. Now, this area on the north side of Pennsylvania Avenue, we've got a few empty lots that are still available. We've got new construction out here, typically 3-bed, 2-bath homes. They're going to run into the 500 range, mid 500s. And when we get down here a little further, we're going to run into some multifamily. We got some duplexes here, some apartment buildings, and we also have a Anaconda Deer Lodge County building. And it's interesting that Anaconda today is a consolidated city-county governed entity. So it's the county and the city govern the area together. And for healthcare, down here we have the Anaconda Community Hospital, the Community Hospital of Anaconda. And so that you've got your healthcare right here in town. And this is pretty typical across the board in Western Montana. Even the smaller communities have some sort of health care. We've covered that in a number of our community videos. Anaconda has a population of 9,421, and the town was home of the smelter operations of the Anaconda Copper Company. By 1919, the Washoe Reduction Works could boast that its 585-foot smokestack was the tallest masonry structure in the world. In 1980, the Atlantic Richfield Company closed the smelter, bringing an end to almost a century of mineral processing. The area was left terribly contaminated by processing waste, but with the EPA and ARCO, there was a massive cleanup effort, and part of that redevelopment is Old Works Golf Course, designed by Jack Nicklaus. Old Works is an 18-hole championship course. Ground was broken on this spectacular course in May 26th of 1994, and it's a par 72. It's over 7,700 yards. Took over 4 years to build it, and but it's now considered by some to be one of the 50 must-be-played golf courses in the country. Clearly, the bulk of the housing in Anaconda are those homes in the original town site that were built, between 1900 and 1920 even. Here you have another bar on the corner. So there's plenty of bars in Anaconda, but these homes are functional, but a lot of the things slowed down in Anaconda after the smelter shut down in 1980, and very few new homes were built. But prior to that, from 1900 to 1920 was really go-go years, and a lot of building went on. This is the original town site. Then there were a number of additions to Anaconda. And then, as we'll see here later on, there was a lot of building going on in Anaconda in the mid-50s. So that is something to consider. Here's another bar on the corner. And so a lot of opportunities to buy relatively inexpensive homes in the range of $220 to $320, and of course, then there also is some multifamily that's available for folks to rent, if that's what you want to do, for example, and kind of check out the area before you actually buy. And a lot of people do that. Now, here's a large office building, and that's right next to the Hearst Free Library. And then we will go by the Deer Lodge County Courthouse. And this courthouse, I believe, was built in 1898, I believe, something in that order. And then, of course, there's the Justice Center for Deer Lodge County next to the courthouse, a newer structure that houses the law enforcement. And then we've got deer, lots and lots of deer in Anaconda. Probably saw more deer in Anaconda than I did on rural highways, and they're all chowing down in the yards. Now this is an office building, and then right next to that is a nursing home. And we are going to check out the Anaconda Senior High, and that's just right up the road here in the residential community on just north of the nursing home. And the Copperheads are the mascot names for the Anaconda High School, and there are 281 students in grades 9 through 12 with a 12-to-1 student-teacher ratio. So it's pretty good odds. You've got a lot of teachers per student. And then when we get up around the corner, we are going to find that we've got our Kennedy Commons Park. And that park, interestingly, has no deer in it whatsoever. The deer were all in individuals' lawns, as opposed to being in general open space. And again, here's a lot of the same style and age of homes that you've come to expect in Anaconda. We've got plenty of deer. And then we're going to go out Montana Highway 1, which is the Pentler Veterans Memorial Highway, Scenic Highway. And these homes were all built in about the mid-50s, and lots of them have basements in them. They range in size from about 1,200 square feet on the main floor to about 15, 16 on the main floor. And these homes can be purchased in the range of 300 or so. So we're going to drive out this way and take a look at some of the more rural properties. And out in this area, you'll find the properties are going to be a variety of styles. They can be on a couple of acres. It can be on 26 acres. There's some Forest Service ground that comes right down to the Montana 1. And this area is on the way to Georgetown Lake. And we're going to go visit Georgetown Lake. That is a little drive west of Anaconda, approximately 16 miles from town. And you can see these various homes and property sizes along the way as we go out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go out to really recreational area along up in the Georgetown Lake area. So this is Montana 1 headed towards Georgetown Lake, and then it goes into Granite County because the lake straddles the Deer Lodge and Granite counties. And of course, the county seat of Granite County is Phillipsburg. And you can actually drive from this location in Georgetown, you can drive across Skalkaho Pass into the Bitterroot Valley. So if you've ever done that, give us a comment below and tell us about that trip. That's quite a little journey. Here we are at Georgetown Lake. Now this is just west of Anaconda, and just a little ways down here in Granite County is Phillipsburg. But this is great recreational area, and Georgetown Lake, you can see right now that it's starting to freeze over, and this is just about the middle of November. This is great ice fishing up here, and it's actually great recreation all year long. The lake is 3,700 acres. It goes about 16 feet is all the deeper it is. And right down the road here, we have Discovery Ski Area, super fishing for kokanee salmon, rainbow trout, a variety of lake trout, that sort of thing. So great recreational area for those folks who are living just 15, 20 minutes down the road in Anaconda. Here's a great summertime view of Georgetown Lake. You can see the mountains and snow-covered mountains in the background. And I believe this was about July. And you can see it's beautifully green around the lake itself, and the lake is shimmering blue. And once you get up to the lake, you've got some opportunities to stay overnight at these various lodges. This one happens to be the Lakehouse. They also have a steakhouse, lounge there. And there are properties just to the north of this in a subdivision called Elk Meadows, where the properties are split into larger tracts, say 6+ acres. In fact, there was a home that not too long ago sold up here, just right under 7 acres, that was built in 1996. It was 3,828 square feet. 4 bedroom, 3 bath, and it sold for $1,150,000. Beautiful views overlooking Georgetown Lake, and also up here in Elk Meadows, there was a home that was built 2007, kind of a mountain modern style. It was a 3-bed, 3.5 bath on 10 acres, and the value on that home is assessed at $1.2 million. So that gives you an overview on the real estate and price points and landmarks and buildings, etc. in Anaconda. We hope you've enjoyed this video on the Montana Real Estate Channel, brought to you by Cyphers Family Real Estate. We've been helping folks move into and around the state of Montana since 1966. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.